I think the data lake has got traction. I think the price points of using the new Hadoop and NoSQL platforms are very attractive. Now the question is, how do we do meaningful things with it? And that's been a challenge. We're starting to see a lot of that infrastructure go to the cloud, because that eliminates a lot of the heartache and the manual costs involved in maintaining the data lake. Initially a data lake is for those power users, who have the skills and the ability to go, swimming through this lake, finding the nuggets they want, and then be able to process that using schema on read technologies, right? Some of the more programmatic access methods. Fortunately, SQL's making inroads into the data lake, and we're starting to learn how to model, different islands within it and give users direct access to data in the data lake. We're also, in some cases, moving data out into specialized relational databases or OLAP databases, or even a lot of BI tools now that may query the lake directly. They'll pull it into their own in-memory engines and do processing and modeling there. So how we converge the data is happening in many different ways today. Today, I think that the general mantra where people's heads are at, who are building systems to deliver data to business people, is we don't want to move the data. I think that concept has gotten general adoption. I don't think people necessarily know how to do it yet, but if we could just leave the data in one place and then query it there, that's going to solve a lot of architectural issues and lower the cost of data processing. But there's a problem, right? So there's a dynamic tension between, do we query all this data directly that gives us the real-time, freshest data possible and doesn't limit our views at all? Or do we extract a subset of that data and pull it into a separate data environment, whether it's in memory or OLAP cube, and model it so that it's just what users need and want, and then we can guarantee fast response and consistent query performance? Those are two different approaches to this whole intelligence market, right? And vendors are taking different tacks toward it. So some focused on, I'm just going to query the data directly and we'll give you everything you need, but then the downside is performance, right? We're going to pull it into our specialized database, give you fast, consistent query performance, but the downside's the data's not real time, and I've only got a limited view. What if I want to do a cross, fact join or something like that? So there are trade-offs to each, and each, group that's moving in those different directions is doing workarounds to compensate for the weaknesses of their model. That's certainly a huge tension that I see in the market now. So it behooves people to understand what approach their particular vendors are taking. Is it direct access, or is it extract and then query some in-memory cube or something like that? Some BI vendors do both. They give you the option to go directly against, and if performance poor, then you can download the data into some kind of a cube or database. There's a lot of innovative approaches to. I think we're moving more towards the direct query approach, and having those dynamically created caches is a great approach or workaround. Just the idea of not touching the data and leaving it where it is huge.